Everything that is created by Source flows in a beautiful cycle. And this is true for giving and receiving. If you were to compare it to the breath, the in-breath being the taking in, the receiving, and the out-breath being the giving. That's a natural cycle, by the way, created by Source. Imagine only breathing in. Try it now. As you can see, there's only so much that you can take in before a strong desire to give out kicks in. Now let's do the opposite and only give out.
No.
As you can see, if you're only giving out, your system starts to weaken and a natural desire to take in comes in. So when we're in this time of giving, let us also practice our receiving, for that's the natural cycle. Can we be in a state of grace in every part of the cycle? Hey everyone, Therese here. Welcome to this week's Karma Cards. Guess what? We have a full moon. Nope. Guess what? We have a new moon plus a solar eclipse happening in Sagittarius this Friday, December 3rd. So you know what that means? That means there's a spirit circle. And if you'd like to join us, you can go to this link right here and join us for the upcoming new moon solar eclipse spirit circle, where I'm going to be guiding you through a manifestation process and telling you about the cosmic current happening right now. What are the planets telling us? What advice are they giving us to follow? If you want to know and do psychic Q&A with me, go to that link and I'll see you there. And by the way, did you see these? They're coming out on Friday. I usually don't do a new moon release, new item, but these ones, I mean, come on. Solar eclipse, smoky quartz. I love it. If you'd like to get a pair, check out my Etsy shop. The link is in the description below. So this week, wow, the messages this week weren't so solidified. Sometimes when I get messages from the team, it's like, right, this is the point that we want you to focus on and expand on that in the karma cards. And this time, I was having a reaction. I was reacting. I was having a small internal reaction to something that I had seen written, and it reminded me, I had a choice. It was at a choice point. Do I get triggered and react? Definitely the ego part of myself was like, yeah, let's do that. And then the higher self always comes in and is like, that's not what you intend for your life, right? So the balance is there. When I went into meditation about it and sat with it, my team reminded me that we are in a time period where everybody on the planet's spiritual maturity is being revealed. Everyone. So you can't hide it and you can't fake it. It's out there for everyone to see. Times like this bring it out. And those of us who are consciously aware can see for ourselves, hey, this is where I'm doing well. This is what needs work. This is where I intend to strengthen myself. And those who aren't consciously aware of themselves, well, they're kind of showing where they're at. And there's no wrong place to be, because remember, we're all evolving. We're all on a soul path. So there's no right path. Although definitely the ego wants to say, well, the more advanced you are, the better. It's mostly just stop and look. And it was interesting because I think the same day, or maybe today, I can't remember if it was today or yesterday when I saw it, a post came up that I forwarded on my Instagram. And the post basically said, you can't be spiritual without being compassionate. And I tend to agree with that statement, because in order to increase our frequency, we are moving towards an understanding, especially as we move deeper and deeper into fourth density, that we are all one. We are connected. And so therefore, that understanding, if you have that, if you're holding that, if that's a truth for you, it's going to bring out compassion. If you're leaving anyone out, then you're practicing separation and not oneness. And when you're giving a lack of compassion to someone, you're practicing that separation instead of oneness. So I agree. To be spiritual means to be compassionate. And also, I would add to that statement, to be spiritual is to be accepting. The higher we move in consciousness, the more we're being asked to move into a mindset of accepting. And I know this one trips people up. It used to trip me up years ago. That would have tripped me up. The idea of accepting everything. There's a part of us that just doesn't want to do that. We're like, nope, I don't like that. I don't accept that. That's BS. And what gave me clarity is the understanding that acceptance doesn't mean I like it and that I want it. Acceptance means you're not in denial of its existence. So when something is presented to you that you don't like, you're not like, nope, doesn't exist. Murder doesn't exist. Homelessness doesn't exist. No, it means that you're like, yep, that I accept that murder happens. I accept that homelessness happens. It's just being completely honest with yourself and what you're experiencing or what you're being shown in front of you as this is here. It's in my path. I have to look at that. Now, acceptance doesn't mean I agree with it. And it doesn't mean you have to like it. You don't have to agree. You don't have to like. You simply accept its existence. To have compassion doesn't mean you have to agree with it either. You don't have to agree. You don't have to like it. But to have compassion means that we're moving away from a place of judgment where we've decided something, that this person is stupid or this person is heartless or whatever, right? That's a form of judgment. And that's very third density. That's part of that whole separation programming we've gone through. To have compassion for someone else, even if you don't agree with them, even if they're saying something that just gets right under your skin, is to recognize that something is causing that feeling inside of them, whether you agree with their sentiment or not, or their stance or not. Something inside of them is causing them to come to that conclusion. That is the right course of action, the right words to say in that moment. And if we can get behind what is being said and look to what would cause someone to say that. So compassion asks us to view deeper into what we're looking at rather than staying on the surface, and look at what's behind that. What would make someone want to express that or hold that stance, and trying to connect with that, trying to see if you can connect with that feeling. And many times what you find is, yes, you can. I've been in pain. This person's in pain. I have been upset. I've been in fear. This person's in fear. Right? And that's where compassion comes in. And again, even when you find what it is that you feel might be motivating that expression that they're having, it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. You don't have to like it. You're finding the impetus behind it, if you will. And so that's one of the things that came up this week that I was like, this is an interesting point, is I have to remember that during this period, it is incredibly revealing. I mean, that's one of the gifts of this time. As sucky and hard as it can seem at times, it shows everything, right? People, the true nature of a person comes out. You can see where they are at psychologically. You can see where they're at emotionally. You can see where they're at spiritually. And obviously it's reflected in the physical world as well. So I don't know, that was just something that came up for me, that the team was like, let's work on this. Let's dig a little deeper here. So that's one message that came through. And then the other is the message that I shared at the beginning about, I asked, well, what is it? What else can we focus on? Because I felt like maybe that was something I needed to be reminded of personally. And they had said, no, let's share that with everybody. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, what else? And they were like, okay, well, you're in a time of giving. The word giving is so emphasized right now. And, relating to people who are service to others, giving is our favorite word. Like, it lights people up. They love it. They love how aligned it makes them feel to their higher self, to their higher purpose. And really, it is a beautiful energy. And during this time period, those who are givers can become overgivers, and overgivers can burn out. And it's like, just like I was showing you in the earlier example, if all you ever did was breathe out, you can feel it. You start to weaken. You need to take in. And I know a lot of the people that I work with, and a lot of people who focus on service to others, can have a really hard time with receiving. So much so that their receptive energy is blocked in their life. Like, they want to manifest so many things, whether it's money or relationship or career advancement or more security in their life. They want to receive so much, but they're blocking their receptivity on the smallest levels. And that's what's creating a sort of bigger block to what they're trying to manifest. And so the team would ask us to consider, are you blocking receiving right now in some way? Might be small, might be like, December's a really busy month. I got to do all these things. There's all these commitments or parties or places to go. A lot of people want to see each other. And instead of giving to ourselves, which is a form of receiving as well, like taking the time to rest, honoring your own energy cycle, making sure that you're, mentally, emotionally, spiritually in the right place first before you commit to anything. All of these are acts of receiving. And also maybe somebody wanting to do something for you, right? How many helpers do you have around you who want to give you their time, attention, energy? And are you allowing that in? Are you going, oh, no, I've got this. You don't need to do that. I can take care of it. Right? Are you allowing the help that's trying to come towards you right now? Or are you rebuffing it because there's a part of you who's like, no, I've got to do this, because you feel that energy of like, this is the time to give. It's time for me to give. It's beautiful that you feel that. Make sure you're balancing it. And remember, giving and receiving is a cycle. If you're only sending energy out and not taking energy in, then you are weakening yourself. And it's true with your energy level, your time, and what you're allowing for yourself. Because if we can give it to ourselves in a smaller incremental way, we're actually creating more capacity to receive the bigger things that we want. It doesn't all come in one whoosh. I mean, maybe once in a lifetime, you get this sort of jackpot energy where all of it just kind of lines up. That's a once in a lifetime thing, by the way. Most of the time, receptivity is in little bites, little ways where you are allowing yourself, you're giving back to yourself, you're letting others give to you, you're stepping back and allowing yourself to be a vessel to receive. And it builds up incrementally, and that's how you build the capacity. I'll tell you what, if you don't let yourself build that capacity up incrementally, you actually won't have the capacity to hold a big jackpot landslide of incoming goodness. You just won't be there. You won't know how to do it. And a great example of that are people who win the lottery. It's very common that if someone wins the lottery, they end up somehow losing that fortune. It almost seems like there's bad luck connected to it, but really what it is is not having the energetic capacity to hold what's coming your way. So if you've always been kind of stingy with yourself, and you feel, and how do you know if you're stingy with yourself? What are signs? Burnout is a big one. Overtired, constantly having to be doing something. Never letting anyone help you because it's too much. It takes too much energy, right? Like someone wants to help you, but then you have to explain it to them, and you'd have to slow down, and you'd have to include them, and that feels like it's taking you off your pace. That's usually a sign that you're not receiving anything, right? You're not allowing the help to come in. So we want to watch for that during this time period and just allow ourselves to open up. It might mean you have to slow down. If you're a fast-paced person, you might hate the way it feels at first. To slow down, let others in, take your time, step back, assess the situation, assess your own needs. It's interesting because if it feels yucky to do that, or you just don't like that, it usually means low capacity for holding and receiving. When you practice letting yourself do that in these small incremental ways, it starts to feel better. It stops feeling so frustrating and starts to feel relaxing. And you start to realize, stuff's still getting done. It's just, I don't have to be in control of everything. And that's another thing, like needing to be in control of everything. That's obviously another marker for low receptivity. If you can let other people do it, you're going to expand your capacity to receive, and you're going to feel more supported. And remember that incoming breath, it builds you up, right? Remember, it's not just about taking. You can't do that either. Eventually, it's going to come out. And when you give yourself the opportunity to be in receptive mode and take in, the next wave of outgoing energy from you is going to be even better. With that, let's do some karma cards for this week. You who are new to karma cards, let me show you how these work. I've got 3 decks, the planets, signs of the zodiac, and houses of astrology, and I've already asked my team what's the message for us this week. And these cards literally fell out. Literally, all 3 were just like falling out of the deck this week. And I've got 2 sets of answers, one in red, which are action-related answers, and a set in blue, which are outcome. And the way that you play is you tune in intuitively. What do you need this week? Do you need action-related answers or outcome-related answers? And while you are tuning into that, let me tell you the timing for this reading. This reading is for December 1st through December 7th. Now let's go over the flavor of this reading. All right, we've got the power purge planet Pluto. So Pluto can be an intense energy. And it's more like, listen, if the message of Pluto is more like, listen, we got something to change here. We got to get to the heart of it. And if you're not going to do this willingly, I'm going to do it for you. And you might not like the way this goes. I mean, Pluto can be really harsh in its approach. So we're going to just pay attention to that in this week's reading. Oh, and it's in the sign of Aries. So harsh, direct, intent, like cut the bullshit, get right to the point, a little blunt. Gotta love the Aries. Gotta love us. So a strong-headed energy with it. And the area, interestingly enough, it's looking at is relationships. And I honestly feel, just intuitively from this, it's because we're getting ready for the Venus retrograde happening December 19th. So we're starting to enter in to the area where Venus goes into shadow. And I believe Venus is retrograding in the sign of Capricorn. So she's getting really serious about this. I mean, she's looking at relationships, self-worth, money from a life lesson, karmic level. So I kind of get the feeling that we're in the pre-game here of all this stuff that we're going to look at. So let's see what the cards have to say. All right. If you are choosing action, your spiritual action is to redirect your willpower diplomatically. Redirect your willpower diplomatically. I'm going to go back to the story I told you about choosing to respond or react to the post I saw. The one that I was like, oh, this is triggery. And I was like, really, I was having an ego moment where the ego is like, oh, let's type something. Let's correct that or whatever. And thank God the higher self came in and was like, no. I feel like that's a great example for this statement. Redirect your willpower diplomatically. You got to think it down the line, right? That's what I do when I'm on the verge of something. I mean, thankfully, I spend so much time and energy with the higher self that it's very close, and I spend every day like embracing it. I'm like, come on in, baby. I love you. You're my guide. Show me how to do this. So it prevents me from doing stupid things most of the time. Most of the time. If you follow a thought all the way down before it becomes an action, before it becomes something you regret, you'll get to that point where you're looking at it and you're like, yeah, that's dumb. That's got consequences I don't want. I am energetically tying myself. I'm creating karma. If you spend time looking at it, it helps you redirect that energy as we're being asked to. Mental action at this time. Get to the heart of what you think you know about relationships. All right, so again, get to the heart, cut the crap, get straight down to it. What do you think relationships are? What do you think you know about relationships, right? Relationships review time. And again, this is it's getting ready for Venus going into her retrograde period, which will last a little over a month, roughly a month and a couple of days of having to go deeper in and dig around there and find out, who am I in relation to others? How do I value myself in relation to what I value? What do I value more? All of this is coming up right now. So we're being asked to do a practice run. And I think it's like you're going to go through that month and a couple, handful of days so much smoother if you're willing to go in. Remember what I told you about Pluto? It's like we got some stuff to look at. Either you do this with me and I empower you, or you don't listen and I purge it for you, meaning I'm going to break that thing apart. That's what Pluto's saying here. So we're really getting an opportunity, being led by the hand in this week by the Pluto energy, saying, let's go in now, go in willingly, right? If you were standing at the staircase down to Hades, you could wait for a demon to come up and grab you down, or you could do what all the Greek mythology heroes do, and they're like, I'm going down there. And that's the approach we're being asked to take in terms of looking at relationships specifically. Physical action at this time, do or die. You must do it your own way and get a fair deal. Okay, so this, part of the fair deal part reminds me of the compassion and acceptance I was telling you about earlier. Having compassion and acceptance means that I am facing things as they are, and I am looking deeper into why somebody expresses or presents that way, to have compassion and try to understand what's going on behind that, because there's a lot of trauma. Okay, 2020, greatest gift, one of its greatest gifts will be the trauma it provided, and 2021 has added to the trauma. So there's a lot of people having trauma responses right now. So getting a fair deal means a part of it is understanding that just because someone's having a trauma response and you're in compassion to that, do you have to take BS? No, you don't. No BS. You don't have, to be spiritual is to be compassionate, accepting. Doesn't mean you're a doormat. Remember, you're included in the all that is. You are included in oneness. You're not left out. So you're not just an observer of oneness. You are oneness, right? So that's the get a fair deal part right there. Do or die. You must do it your own way. So this trip down to Hades, guided by Pluto, who is the king of, he's the ruler of the underworld. There's no right way to do it. It's, are you willing to go in and look? Or are you going to busy yourself and be like, no, yuck, gross, gross. We're not doing this right now. It's the holidays. Why would it come up around the holidays? Why would Venus go in retrograde around the holidays? Is there spiritual, cosmic significance to that? I would say yes, there is. And I'm just going to leave it there for now because I want us to all, including myself, to contemplate that point. So there is your own way of going on this journey. And just remember that whatever you're finding, you're not being asked to beat yourself up over it. Whatever you're finding, whatever you're observing, whatever you observe about yourself, give yourself a fair deal. Give past you a break, give current you a break, and future you, if that somehow is involved, a fair deal. Meaning like, when to give past you a break means I did the best I could with what I had and what I knew. At that point, I see better now. I'm not going to condemn a former version of me. I'm going to observe it. Same with current you. Just because you're in a place of observation and compassion doesn't mean you need to get crapped on. And if someone's energy is out of alignment to the point where they are crapping on you, find that way. Ask your higher self. That's the trick. Ask the higher self, how do I have my own back and stand up for myself here without creating more pain? Sometimes that sounds impossible. It can be done. There are people in this world who excel at relationships and communication. They know how to do it. If they can do it, so can we. Okay, let's look at outcomes for Pluto in Aries in the 7th house of relationships. The spiritual outcome at this time is the need for control of energies to meet the challenge of balance. Okay. Sorry, there's a lot of okays coming out. I kind of feel like this piggybacks off the last statement about understanding what you're observing, having that compassion, staying in a place of personal power at the same time. This is higher level work, okay? Where these messages coming through aren't for beginners, it's for you. And you are already transversing the 4th density. Your consciousness is shifting into this. If we were talking to our 3rd density selves, they would not understand. How do I do that? How do I have compassion and have my own back? That'd be like oil and water. The 3rd density self would be like, I don't freaking get that. 4th density self does understand it. And again, higher self is the key. Mental outcome, an obsession with your desires regarding cooperation. Ooh, okay. So again, Pluto is an intense planet. It doesn't come with a subtle energy. It's strong and off-putting at times. So obsession. So maybe what creates that feeling is just like, am I doing it right? Did I do it right? Should I do it again? Like, how could I have done that better? You hear that obsessive thinking in there of your desire for cooperation. So it's coming from a good place. The energy around it mentally is intense. I would use the same language I would when observing my past self, which is I'm doing the best I can with what I have and what I know. I feel like that is the statement that alleviates the intensity of the thinking around how am I doing right now? Like, am I getting it? Did I get it? Like, am I needy? Do you think I'm needy? Do I come across as needy? But that's that same kind of energy. We just have to, we're just going to have to practice the acceptance of whatever it got right now is good enough. Physical outcome at this time, a power struggle resulting from the honesty and strength of your partnership. Okay, so unless your partner is also interested in watching this video and doing that work too, we can't assume that they are going to. I mean, yes, it's the time period. Yes, this is what the cosmic clock is ticking to and saying, hey, pay attention to your relationships. Take a deep look at them. Look at how you're relating. Look at that counterbalance of giving, receiving energy. You're being asked to do this work because you're paying attention here. So the message is for you. We got to understand that, yes, there is a strong desire going to come through in us that they should do it too. And I agree. I agree with you. However, we got to let that go, right? Unless they're also receiving this message happily and of their own free will, not being like, watch, right? That feeling inside of like a relationship is two people. So two people do the work, and that is correct. However, getting two people to do the same work at the same time is, again, it's almost like the cosmic timing for each individual has to line up and click. And it does from time to time. Again, we get these magic moments. They're called miracles. We get miracles where your cosmic timing and their cosmic timing are going to sync up, and you want similar things at a similar time and are willing to put in a similar amount of work. Miracle. Most of the time, one person's clock is on one thing and the other's is on something else. So again, we got to just be mindful. This Pluto energy is the part that wants the power. I want to control this. I want the answer. I want to deal with the demons if I have to deal with them. Like, I'm ready to do it now. I'm going to do it now. And they're like, yeah, I just want to watch TV. I just want to finish this whole season first. I actually just want to do nothing right now. You might get that response, and there's going to be this, right? So with Libra ruling the 7th house, that's the scales. So there's also going to be this power struggle coming from a place of, well, that's not fair. It means I only care and you don't, which is a dangerous assumption to make. It's a dangerous assumption to make because you've got to take yourself out of the current situation, go back to another point in time. And by the way, let me just preface this. Yeah, it sounds like I'm talking about a love relationship, which definitely is included. There are other relationships here, and it's the same principles apply. We just have to take our mindset out of like, if I'm ready to do the work, but they're not. Was I always ready to do the work? Can I think of a time where I didn't want to do this work? Where my mindset was somewhere else? Oh yeah, okay, there's that time. Does that mean I didn't care about them? Absolutely not. Nope. I just didn't want to do this work at that time. That wasn't what was urgent to me or where I had desire. Now I might. And if you're watching this, I feel like that's you. You might have this desire to get to the heart of things, to really look at it, to see, is it balanced? Is there good give and take? Am I projecting? Are they projecting? Are they traumatized? Am I taking that on? Am I standing, like, do I have my own back? Do I have their back? Like, we're going to be doing this work. And when you're lined up with that energy, you're going to feel like, I'm ready to do this now. Have compassion and acceptance of where they're at. Try not to do a story overlay where this is what it means because they don't want to do it or they're not here. Rather just be like, cosmic clocks, right? Mine's pointing at cosmic 7 p.m. and theirs is pointing at cosmic 2 a.m., okay? Not aligned yet, and that's okay. I hope that helps. I hope it helps. It's an intense energy period, and we're in the middle of eclipse season, and we're coming up to the end of the year. I mean, there is an intensification of energy, as well as the Venus retrograde, which is going to cause us to go inside and look, with activated Pluto in the sky and in this reading, making it feel more intense. So it's a lot. Trust yourself. You're doing the best you can with what you have and what you know, right? And just letting yourself take in all the love, help, and beauty around you, so that you can release more of that love, beauty, and help into the world. Mwah. Thank you for watching. Subscribe now and hit the notification bell so that you know the next time I release a new video. Until then, stay magical.